pretty good.
It's very tender, juicy.
I've never had plant taste like beef before.
It's like a beef burger.
The flavor on this is outstanding.
Introducing the Impossible Whopper with a patty made from plants, no beef.
No beef.
Made from plants. Plant-based meat storms our grocery store shelves. Now restaurants are featuring everything from Impossible Burgers to Beyond Sausage breakfast sandwiches on their menus. But is plant-based meat really healthier for you?
Impossible Burger and companies like that, they use a lot of novel proteins. In other words, things in their meat that we really can't even fully understand.
Biochemistry, it's molecular biology, it's genomics, genetics.
Why are these companies going out of their way to make a non-meat product look, taste, and smell exactly like meat?
We could save our planet.
Plant-based meat is literally a scam. They say it's about having empathy for animals.
You know what the animals would say to you if they could speak? Don't kill me! Where'd my tooth go?
They say it's for the environment.
Climate change is exploiting the world's land at an unprecedented rate.
Eating more plant-based foods and sustainably produced meats can change land use and mitigate climate change.
They say it's healthy.
I'm more active. I'm not as sluggish.
It takes less water, less energy.
When in reality, it's all about money. Plant-based meat companies have hijacked our compassion to sell us imitation meat that is made out of a bunch of cheap industrial chemicals and ingredients. Soy protein made from soybeans bathed in a solvent called hexane, a known human neurotoxin. Red number 3, food dye that's a carcinogen that's banned in cosmetics. Caramel coloring, a dye that causes cancer in rats. Tertiary butyl hydroquinone, sodium tripolyphosphate, yum! These are just some of the ingredients found in plant-based meat. Ingredients that are absolutely terrible for you and are way cheaper than growing grass-fed cows, which we've been eating for hundreds of thousands of years.
So what is happening is that they're turning the original notions we had about food upside down. What was cherished the most in the past by the previous generations were the nutrient-dense foods. And that, of course, included meat. And suddenly those products have become the ones that we should avoid, which is extremely surprising.
These are confusing times, which is just about the right time to have the Burger King Impossible Whopper. A Whopper made without beef that tastes just like a Whopper.
And yet, society keeps pushing it.
There's a simple but significant way to help protect the planet and all its inhabitants. And it starts with just 1 day a week. 1 day without eating animal products.
Governments keep pushing it, and we all fell for it. This is the great plant-based meat lie.
Well, those Impossible Burgers, we showed a study the other day that was showing that it's toxic for rats. They fed rats the Impossible Burger and the rats are getting sick.
Apparently, a lot of these vegan meats we've all been scoffing down because they're plant-based from the plant range are actually highly synthetic processed foods.
Plant-based meat is actually a food manufacturer's dream. Why? Well, think about it. Raising a natural grass-fed cow takes a ton of time, money, and resources. You need to feed them quality hay and grass. You need to take care of them for up to 2 years. And this all costs money. Over $2,000 per cow. That is why grass-fed beef costs food manufacturers $7.63 per pound. Pretty expensive. Now, compare this to the plant-based meat, which is made from America's cheapest, most subsidized crop, soybeans. Right now, soybean meal costs American food manufacturers a measly 25 cents per pound, compared to $7.63 for beef. That's 30 times cheaper than real meat. Which means, if you could find a way to make a convincing beef-like burger with this dirt-cheap soybean meal, you could charge the same price as real beef while making way more profit. All you need is some genius marketing, some colorful labels, a little dash of guilt, and you will be golden. And that's exactly what happened. Right now, grass-fed ground beef at the grocery store costs $7.99 to $10.49 per pound, while Impossible Foods' fake ground beef, this cheap soy frankenmeat, costs around the same at $9.32 per pound. But here's the thing, soybean meal by itself tastes horrible. If you want to make it taste like a real, delicious, juicy burger, you're gonna need a ton of chemicals, artificial ingredients, and some good old big food engineering.
Throw this puppy on the grill.
Sizzle. This is the Impossible Burger, a plant-based meat alternative made from the best, most natural ingredients America has to offer.
Here, what we have in front of me is all of those natural plant ingredients.
Yeah. And honestly, the Impossible Burger doesn't taste half bad.
The consistency of the Impossible Burger is so meat-like.
It's shocking. It's literally shocking.
It grills like a burger. It bleeds like a burger. But how does it do that? Well, the chemical in real beef that makes it taste super delicious is called heme. Heme is a chemical found in cow's blood. So if you want your plant-based meat to taste like the real thing, you're gonna need to find a plant-based heme alternative. So you slapped on a lab coat and started experimenting. You wanted to find a way to extract the chemical heme from soybeans. And at first, you experimented on natural, non-GMO soybeans. But the taste just wasn't cutting it. Plus, in order to make a tiny bit of heme, you needed a whole truckload of these natural soybeans, which would be super expensive and ruin the whole point of this scheme. So you switched gears and started to experiment with genetically modified soy. And guess what? It actually worked. You literally created blood from soybeans.
Impossible Burger is a plant-based burger. The key ingredient, which a protein called soy leg hemoglobin.
But the thing about genetically modified soy is that it's sprayed with a ton of herbicides, specifically Monsanto's Roundup. And this Roundup contains a toxin called glyphosate, which has been linked to vital organ damage in animals, as well as cancer and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in humans. And as it turns out, glyphosate gets absorbed right into the flesh of the soybeans that it's sprayed on. So it's not surprising that a ton of glyphosate has been found in Impossible Burgers, along with hexane, a known neurotoxin. But did this little glyphosate mishap stop you from releasing your burger to the public? No! You submitted a 1,066-page report on your soy leg hemoglobin creation to the FDA, and the FDA simply responded with no further questions.
What should scare the out of you about the Impossible Burger is all of the regulations that surround meat. None of them surround that.
The other thing with Impossible Burgers, so the primary ingredient is called soy leg hemoglobin, or SLH. So this is a bioengineered protein additive that adds meat-like taste and color. It does not meet the basic FDA generally recognized as safe, the GRAS designation, because it's not a food or even a food ingredient. And there's a document that you can get. I think it came with the Freedom of Information Act. In the discussion in this document with the FDA, Impossible Foods admitted that up to a quarter of its heme ingredient was composed of 46 unexpected additional proteins, some of which are unidentified and none of which were assessed for safety in the dossier. Impossible Burger put the product on the market despite admitting to the FDA privately that they haven't done adequate safety testing. And according to these documents, quote, FDA believes that the arguments presented individually and collectively do not establish the safety of SLH, soy leg hemoglobin, for consumption, nor do they point to a general recognition of safety.
So they don't know what it does.
Which is why every bite you take in an Impossible Burger is potentially laced with toxic herbicides. But wait, there's more. Heme isn't the only thing you need to make a pathetic pile of soybean meal look and taste like real meat. You also need a ton of dyes, artificial flavorings, and bulking agents.
That one tastes like a damn burger.
It tastes like a burger.
That is a lot better than I thought it would be.
It tastes like a beef burger.
That is so yummy.
This can't not be meat. This isn't impossible.
One of the ingredients in Impossible Burgers is ferric phosphate, an ingredient that is promoted as an iron supplement, but is also the active ingredient in slug pesticide. And what about caramel coloring? Another ingredient fake meat companies use. Sounds innocent enough, right? Well, this is a food dye that has been proven to cause cancer in mice. And tertiary butyl hydroquinone, yet another ingredient fake meat companies use? A common food additive that has been shown to cause liver enlargement and paralysis. But who cares about these dumb medical studies? All you care about is whether or not your genetically modified soy mash tastes like real beef. But there's still one crucial thing missing that makes a burger, that satisfying sizzle. And where does that sizzle come from in real meat? Natural animal fat. We can't use that here. So what do? You dump in a ton of seed oils. Sunflower oil, canola oil, corn oil, you don't discriminate. And guess what? Just like soybeans, these seed oils are crazy cheap. And they're plant-based, score! And the great thing is that the masses still think vegetable oils are healthy, when in reality, they're also absolutely horrible for you and have been linked to heart disease, liver damage, and cancer. But cheap ingredients aren't the only great thing about this business. This industry also has the full faith and backing of all the Western world's governments.
What are these, the sausages or the vegan ones?
Not only is fake meat a food manufacturer's dream come true, it's also the government's. Think about it. Your job as the government is to keep the masses fed and happy, or else they're gonna riot. But the problem is, natural animal products like beef, eggs, and milk are unstable. When the economy drops, animal products are the first to go up in price because of how expensive they are to produce. Eggs are going up in price as we speak. But soybeans? Soybeans are America's most abundant crop. They are super cheap to produce. They're subsidized. They will pretty much never run out, and they last way longer than real meat. So, of course the government pushes plant-based meat. And to make sure the masses accept these cheaper options, the government will do whatever they can to make sure this plant slop is as sexy and fun as possible. And hey, if the colorful packaging won't convince you, maybe Bill Gates will?
If I stop eating burgers, which you point out are a big carbon culprit, will that really make a difference?
Well, if anyone's going to be scratching their head to solve the problem, I think humanity is grateful Bill Gates is the one doing it.
Or maybe your favorite celebrity.
It's beyond meat. Now I've been hit with a truth or dare. Truth. Take a bite and blurt out the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. Damn!
They can even pour money into documentaries that will really get people feeling guilty about meat. Or maybe Meatless Mondays, a national school campaign that promotes plant-based meat directly to children. So, as you can see, the entire fake meat industry is based on one thing: propaganda. And you want to know what else is entirely based on propaganda? Breakfast. We've been told our entire lives that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But in reality, that whole concept was completely fabricated to sell you lucrative breakfasts. And it was all concocted by one man, a man by the name of Edward Bernays, also known as the father of propaganda. Bernays was hired to sell the masses on the importance of breakfast, and we are going to expose it all in our next video. So make sure you subscribe. In the meantime, watch our recent video on the evil history of fluoride, and why this toxic chemical is in your water supply, your toothpaste, and everywhere else. Click the card on the screen to watch now.